Well,
Those would be pretty
what would your
fun.
code name be if you had a code name as an X-Man?
Ooh, code name as an X-Men. Ah, I don't know. That one's tough. Can I come back to you on that?
Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Dude You Never Told Me, a weekly podcast where a couple best friends meet to share ideas, thoughts, have a few good laughs, and just generally have some of a good chill time. I'm your host, Anthony. With me are usually my two best friends, but today, with Devante being out, I just have my dear friend, Alex. How you doing, my man?
Man, I'm doing great. What's up, everybody? If you can tell me why I'm excited right now, I'll give you $5. Just kidding.
I mean, you
So,
should be excited. It's a good weekend. Do you know what weekend it is, Alex?
uh, are you talking about something specific? Or are you talking
Yes.
about why I'm excited?
I'm talking about something specifically happening this weekend that makes it better or different than other weekends. We'll
I
see what
mean,
your answers are.
for me, it's definitely got to be because Deadpool Wolverine's coming out. You know what I'm
That is
saying?
true. That is true. Coinciding with Deadpool and Wolverine film is actually the San Diego Comic-Con for 2024. So it's cool, right?
Okay,
It's like
okay.
one of
That
the
is
few
cool.
times, I think it's the only time that a Marvel film has lined up with Comic-Con where Marvel has a booth. And that's exciting.
Okay.
And
Hell yeah, it is.
if anyone missed our social media story for the day, I did a song about needing a hero because our theme today, inspired by San Diego Comic-Con, inspired by Deadpool and Wolverine, is going to be superheroes, comics, and more. Because we watch a lot of the same shows, because it's about superheroes, even though the main story is not about like a superhero like team per se. I kind of want to start our show talking about The Boys. Season 4, not as good as seasons 1 through 3, but I still enjoyed the show.
I did too. I mean, it still had a good overall arc. It just wasn't. It didn't feel like the stakes were as high. I mean, yeah, sure. The idea was
Like before we
without giving spoilers.
yeah,
What were you gonna
before
say?
we begin, I just want to say, this to be heavy spoilers for The Boys season 4. Alex and I are going to be talking about a lot. If you haven't seen yet, feel free to skip to a later part of our episode. But I think before we do a deep dive in like The Boys season 4, we should probably sum up. Alex, what is The Boys? Give our audience a good summary of what this show is about.
The Boys. So if you've seen Marvel, if you've seen DC, The Boys is basically taking all your favorite superheroes and acting as if they're the most corrupt beings on the planet. They
Very
are
much
people
so.
who do not care. They will use you. They will view you as insects. They will do all kinds of sexual innuendos. They'll do like it's wild. I mean, they do not hold back. It is gory, it is bloody, it is very much adult rated as it
Yes.
comes.
I've never seen a TV show more, I guess graphic when it comes to a lot of their scenes. It's graphic and it keeps you interested. Keeps you want to see what they do next and pushes the boundaries. And so The Boys focuses on a group of non superpowered people whose main job is kind of keep the superheroes in check, make sure that the crazy ones are not going out there and wrecking havoc, and it pins those the superheroes like a Justice League cast of superheroes versus the Boys to see who would prevail. And so season 4, again, major spoilers, wraps up with a huge turn of events where the superheroes, led by Homelander, is like basically took over America.
Yeah, he basically did. What all happened? We had Victoria Newman,
She
the
died.
VP. Yep, she got murdered
She got
by
murked.
that boy Butcher.
Butcher,
That-
fitting
He
name.
basically is he's basically what, Venom right now in a way.
Kind of, yeah. I think so. With a little bit of Venom energy, tentacles sprouting out of his chest like that. I
Yeah,
see Venom.
yeah, because the I forget the guy's name, but Jeffrey Dean Morgan,
Mhm.
his character, he's kind of like Venom inside his head. Like he's literally basically the tumor in his head
Mhm.
that he's talking to.
Did you
You know.
see that twist coming? That he wasn't actually like there. He was just all in Butcher's head.
So I did see the week before a theory about that.
Yeah.
So I kind of wonder, I was like, oh, that's a really good theory. And then the next week they revealed it. I was like, oh,
Oh, you
well,
knew. I started thinking that because like whenever I see characters talking in heavy dialogue and what looks like an internal demon, I was like, oh, do other characters know that they're there? And like you can tell, see like other characters, no one really interacts with Joe Kessler. They're just like, oh, they just like we as an audience see him, Butcher sees him, but we never see him interact with any other character. So I thought, oh, he's definitely in his head. I think he's not there. I didn't think it was a
yeah.
tumor, but I for sure knew, oh, he's not there.
No, yeah, he's lost his mind for sure. I
He
mean,
lost his
between seeing his
gourd.
dead wife and Kessler, I mean, it's not great for Butcher, but at least he's focused and he's not just willing to just roll over and die. Like
Right.
the man is driven now and he's gonna do what he needs to do, hopefully to take out Homelander and the rest of the
Hopefully.
corrupt soups, but
I
we'll
mean,
see.
I guess let's do that. What are your predictions for season 5? This is gonna be the final season of The Boys.
All right. My prediction. So I think with the it being the final season and all, we're gonna see some major character deaths.
Yeah.
I think Butcher is a pretty much guaranteed death at this
Yeah.
point. We know he's already on death's door. I think Homelander, like that's the whole point of the show is killing him. So I
Mhm.
think we're gonna see him go. I think for an audible, we're either gonna see Frenchie or MM die.
I think
I
they
think
both
one
will
of
die.
those two. You
They
think the
both.
both will die?
Have you ever read? Did you read the comic books that The Boys was inspired by?
No, I haven't.
Um, so what's good about The Boys, the TV show, is that it has pivoted drastically away from the comic books. And so even if I were to tell you like plot points from the comic books, you'll see where The Boys, the TV show, got their ideas from. But
Sure.
I would not say it's a guaranteed anything. And so
Okay.
in the comic books, basically the entire Boys minus Huey dies.
Oh,
Huey's the main character, right? He's
yeah.
arguably the main character, and seeing him through his journey is what kind of like the emotional backbone. He's the audience like voice and view. Everyone else
Yeah.
dies, and then most of the 7 die as well.
Um,
So
I
it's
mean,
like a
good.
bloodbath, and like I don't want to spoiler too much what happens in the final act of like The Boys, but you can definitely see where it's just start putting some of your favorite characters against each other, and it's
Yeah.
not going to end all happy for everyone, minus Huey and probably Annie. I think those two get their happy endings, but most of your beloved heroes, Homelander, Butcher, Frenchie, they're all gonna die, I think.
Who is your favorite character? I gotta ask.
From The Boys, my favorite character, I really like I feel like they gave him a lot of depth as a character. I think
Okay.
he's the only one that's actually struggling with, do I want to continue being like a superhero, like Hunter essentially, or do I want
Yeah.
to try to live a normal peaceful life with my wife and my ex-wife and daughter. So I think he has the
Yeah.
most character depth.
So I think up until this most recent season, I would agree. MM was one of my favorites.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I felt like this season he kind of was a little bit like he's always been pretty tough and able to deal with his own stuff. But I
Yeah.
feel like this season, like I guess it's a good arc that he's trying to like he's having a harder time dealing with it. But I also liked it more when he was able to put on like this tough guy acting like, despite everything that he was going through, push forward and move on. I hate seeing him like get in this in this
Kind
in
of.
his head and just
Yeah.
kind of yeah. But like I get it. Like it is a good plot point. It's just it doesn't flow well with me. I
It,
like the idea of just pushing
right.
on.
I mean,
But
it shows like how much like stress he's putting on himself, because this is the first
yeah,
season where was leading the boys. Because season 3, it was still mainly Butcher leading the team. And so with
100%.
leading, taking it, he's a lot of stress. It's a tough job, and so I think it's, to me, what I see struggling to lead the boys, it really shows that, yeah, like Butcher is crazy, but he has like the craziness to lead the team. And you kind of need a little bit of
100%.
crazy to like lead a group of normal people to hunt down like superheroes.
Yeah.
I think that's a nice way to show like
Absolutely.
Butcher's leadership versus like leadership.
But I do have a favorite character
Yeah, what's
that
your favorite
has
character?
been very consistent, and it's got to be Kimiko.
Kimiko? Yeah, she's good.
Yeah,
I
I
like
like
the
her a lot.
end when like it shows that her being
Yes.
like mute is not like a physical thing, it's like an all mental thing. That's cool. I like
Yeah.
that.
No, yeah, I love that. I thought that was really cool, and Spoiler alert, at the end of the season, there's a part where the boys kind of all get captured by the soups, including Frenchie and Kimiko. And I love the part where she sees Frenchie. I don't know the name of this character because I haven't seen Gen V,
Hmm.
but this character, I guess she has the power to like if she whispers something in your ear, like you have to follow her command. And so like Frenchie, she does it to Frenchie, and then he walks off, and they kind of take him that way. And Kimiko's just staring at him like trying to yell, but she can't because she's mute. But then all of a sudden she
She left.
overcomes it
Yeah,
and starts screaming, "No,
that's a good moment.
no!"
Yeah.
And dude, it just gave me chills. I was like, "Dang!" Like she really started yelling like that's her man, and she just lost him. It's just it was very emotional, and I just that's my girl in that
That's a
show,
girl.
man.
Yeah. I like her character a lot, and it's very fun to see her grow, especially a lot during the season, going to like speech therapy. But
Yeah,
I think you kind of alluded to that this season was not your favorite season, and a lot of people share your criticisms, I guess, like or share your sentiment for the show that they felt like this season out of the rest of the four seasons so far was least good, one of the worst. Why do you think this season fell short compared to seasons 1 through 3? And then what is your favorite season?
I felt like for this season, it just it there's a lot of plots that didn't feel very necessary. Um, like the Frenchie plot line, I felt like his
Like the
wasn't really
guilt.
that great. Yeah,
Yeah.
the guilt thing. Like he's kind of gone through that same plot where he's done something in the past, he feels bad about it, and he tries to make up for it, and then just nothing really comes from it. I guess in this season, you could argue that what came out of it was he was able to quote unquote forgive himself and
But did he
move on
though?
with.
I mean,
Yeah,
he went to
exactly.
he
Did
put
he?
himself in jail, but then Butcher got him out, and he did seem a
Yeah.
little remorseful. But like that was for one episode. That episode, he was like, I'm back." Essentially,
Exactly.
I
It's
feel that.
I mean, yeah, that with Frenchie, I felt like he was very misused this season. I love the ending for it with him and Kimiko, but yeah,
It's good,
I thought Kimiko had a decent character arc with this season. Starlight's was probably one of the bigger ones,
right?
um, but it was pretty tough to watch for it, like
You felt like how
between her and
slow,
Firecracker and
or
all that.
yeah.
Yeah, like she did not hold back.
Yeah, it was her story arc. I think I liked it because it kind of tore her down from like that like goody like, like
Oh yeah,
idol kind of energy. For the past 3 seasons, she was seen as like the beacon of like what a good superhero should be. And so this season
yeah,
kind of tore her down. And the boys has never been shy about using like current pop culture, current politics to drive certain storylines. And so
hundred
Starlight,
percent.
she held the torch of with what's happening with abortion in America right now.
Mhm.
And so I think it's good to keep it relevant, to keep these storylines there, and to like it's a good way to kind of convey a sentiment through like a popular like superhero like median.
Yeah. Speaking of how they keep storylines in line with kind of politics, what'd you think of the idea that they used January 6th as the as the season finale?
It's not only January 6th, but he also included like a plot point about like presidential assassinations.
Yep.
This is
Yep.
giving me like old time like the Simpsons energy, where like Simpsons writers like predicting things in the future. Like, they predicted Trump escalator, they predicted all this other stuff. It's wild how like similar that the writers have nailed like what's happening like political climate wise. I think it's like
Yeah.
they're very aware of what's happening, and I applaud them because it makes the show more relevant. It makes it like it's I feel like it's a show happening in the modern era rather than a show happening in like the late 2010s or like the early 2010s.
Kind of going back to your question there. You asked what was my favorite
Yeah,
season in
favorite
comparison to
season.
4. My favorite season is definitely 3. I think
Three?
3 was when they went
Okay.
the I think 3 is when they went the hardest as far as Huey and Butcher teaming up and like
Oh,
going into
using.
the real questionable means to kill the Soups. They brought in
Mhm.
Jensen Ackles as Soldier Boy. They revealed that he's who's dad, and
Yeah.
it was just so fun. I just every episode I felt was just real interesting and just
That's
had
true. I
something.
I love following of season 3 along. I think season 2 is my favorite. I love the whole Stormfront
Mhm.
arc. I think that was like really
That's a good one.
cool. Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
really like season 2. I thought that hit its stride. I think for me, it goes season 2, season 3, season 1, and season 4. I still like
Yeah.
4, but
Yeah.
it's there were parts where it did felt very slow, and then I also didn't watch Gen V. I should have though because it tied a lot into like the
Yeah.
the superhero the soup disease that they're trying to create.
They actually said that Gen V season 2 is coming out for 25,
Mhm.
and that is going to tie into what's going on now, so it's going to be
Oh,
relevant
cool.
even more. So
So
I
it's gonna
definitely need
be
to pick that one up.
it's gonna be like the Book of Boba Fett to the Mandalorian,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
4.5 season.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I think we covered the boys, and hopefully our listeners will go watch it. I still highly recommend the boys. I think it's a good way. It's a good kind of like breather from like superhero. Like we think of like Marvel and DC as a very goody two shoe. The heroes always win. The heroes are the good guys. I think the boy turns on its head, and it's quite a refreshing palate cleanser to MCU and the soon to be DCU. But
Again,
speaking,
we do need to warn our viewers as well. It's very graphic,
yes.
not for kids. I wouldn't even recommend it for teenagers. Like I'm talking maybe 17 and up. Otherwise,
Yes.
I'd say like 18 at really probably the real minimum, honestly.
I think, we cover the boys a lot. Let's go into what I know you're excited for this weekend. You're excited for, Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, who isn't excited for Deadpool and Wolverine? I have not watched too many trailers for it. I kind of know enough to kind of see where they're going. I watched the first trailer, that's it. But I want to take
All
some
you've seen?
time. Yeah, I have not seen any of the other
Oh
trailers,
my gosh,
but
I
I want
cannot
to
contain myself.
I want to take yeah, and I'm gonna give you the platform. And so we're going. I want to see what are you most looking forward to in this film?
Okay. What I'm looking most forward to is definitely going to be the relationship developing between Wolverine and Deadpool. Just seeing that play out on screen. Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds have amazing
Yeah,
chemistry
friends in real life.
as friends. Yeah, they're friends in real life. Their banter is so hilarious. The way they make fun of each other and just assholes to one another, it's greatness. And now we get to see that just completely go off the rails in a movie for 2 hours, and I think 7 minutes is how long it is. Like, it's gonna be fantastic. They're gonna fight each other, they're gonna beat the shit out of each other, they're gonna call each other crazy names, and, I don't know if you saw this, but on the soundtrack list, they put The Greatest Show
I
from The
saw.
Greatest
Yeah,
Showman.
I saw that.
I already
What
know Ryan's got something cooking with that. There's
what
no
a
way he doesn't.
fun inside like reference. I think only Deadpool can make that kind of joke because it's like fourth wall breaking. That's like his whole thing. So I'm excited, based off of like the song list.
Yeah,
Um,
it's gonna be so good. I can't wait. And then not even let's not forget the cameos, right? We're gonna have
that's
so
what I'm most excited for. I think
yeah,
this film will be a tribute to like the 20th Century Fox like universe. I think it's gonna
yeah,
go ham on all of these cameos. You can see people drawn left and right with Deadpool traveling the multiverse. You know for a fact that like it's gonna, you're gonna see all your favorite X-Men characters, even your
yeah.
favorite non-X-Men characters from like, God, I would love to see a Ben Affleck Daredevil. That man just needs
Ooh.
one more glory as Daredevil. I would love that.
That would be really fun. Or what was her name as Elektra? Jennifer, what was her last name?
Gardner? I think Jennifer
Gardner.
Gardner. I can't
I think
believe that
that's
she
right.
was Elektra as well. That was a cool.
I know exactly who you want to see.
Who do I
Miss
want?
Invisible Woman.
Oh yeah, I would love to see Jessica Alba. She's making a film Renaissance.
I
I
know
mean,
you would love that after last week when we were talking about your childhood
Jen
crush.
Crush. Yeah, young Anthony. So
Oh
so
man.
so naive. Do you think they're gonna have like a winner of Wolverine versus Deadpool, or do you think they're gonna do the whole Fast and the Furious where we don't technically lose, we just draw?
Here's the problem with picking a decisive winner. They both heal,
Sure,
and they both heal a lot. And
sure,
Deadpool's healing, like you can literally cut his head off and he still heals back together. I mean, we saw him
yeah,
literally try to off himself at the beginning of Deadpool 2,
yeah.
and he just grew everything back in a very creepy way, but he still grew it. Wolverine, you never see his limbs get cut off because the dude's got a skeleton made out of adamantium,
Yeah.
which I'm not sure if it's stronger than vibranium or not, but it's
It's
definitely one of the
supposed to be
strongest.
stronger than
Is it?
vibranium. Yeah, but
There
it's
you
like a
have it.
different, weird fake science of it. Like vibranium is supposed to
Yeah.
absorb all kinetic energy in the with through vibrations.
Yeah.
But then, like, adamantium is supposed to be like, man-made, like super strong metal. But yeah, it's true. You've never seen him really lose a hand, even though in the comic books he does lose body parts.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. Yeah, but he's not good. I don't think either one's gonna lose. I
Okay.
think if anything, they're just gonna beat each other up,
Sure.
and then eventually, uh, they're gonna like say like a timeout or pause or
Something's
something,
gonna
and
come
someone's
stop
gonna
the
show
show,
up.
like they
Yeah,
always do.
absolutely,
That's fair.
absolutely. Yeah,
So,
without a doubt in my mind.
so without spoiling too much of the rest of the films, trailer wise, the trailer I remember seeing, they introduce like I think through still shot images, you could see, like I think Azazel and Lady Deathstrike in like the
Yes,
center. And so,
yes,
I'm gonna make the very bold prediction is that, we're gonna see it's gonna be essentially Deadpool over the grave of 21st century X-Men. I can see
yeah,
all the villains there. I bet you we're gonna have all of like they're fighting over it. It's gonna be very a little bit akin to the a dystopian world that like the Wolverine comes from, and that Cassandra Nova, which is Xavier's twin sister, is going to
yes.
be like presiding in this like post-apocalyptic world, the death of Xavier.
100%. I think truly we're gonna at some point see a lot of the old X-Men. Like
Yeah.
they gotta bring back Halle Berry. They got to,
Oh,
for
that'd be cool.
example.
Yeah.
If if they don't bring back Storm, that's a missed opportunity. She was one of the best X-Men in that whole
I
trilogy.
think she was the best X-Men out of that trilogy.
I mean, I'm gonna pick Wolverine, Anthony.
Wolverine.
Come
That's
on.
true. True. True.
I love Halle Berry. I love Storm, but I ain't gonna pick her over Wolverine. That's my guy.
That's true.
uh, But otherwise, I would love to see them. I'm not expecting it, but I would love to see Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart return as
That'd be
Magneto and
cool.
Professor X. That
Yeah.
would be so fun. I just know they're so old now, so I don't. I kind of would rather them like take care of themselves and not do a movie like this. But if they can do it, then hey, I'll
I
be
mean,
excited to see them.
you saw Patrick Stewart in Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah, but that was a few years back now. That's
How many
not
years back was that? Let me was like they came out what 2-3 years ago?
22, I think.
So 2 years
and
ago.
then and then they filmed it like a couple years before
Sure,
that
sure,
too,
sure. And
so yeah.
I guess so.
uh,
What about James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender? They can come back as a young Magneto,
I,
young Xavier.
I would not be shocked if we saw them.
Yeah,
That would make sense, and I thought they actually did pretty good
they did good.
as Xavier and
Yeah.
Magneto. I'm such a fan of the older versions. Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, they killed it, man. I don't know who's gonna eventually have to follow up to that role, but best of luck to them. I mean, if
Yeah,
you can pull
it'll
that
be a
off, like,
tall order.
yeah. Yeah, it's like asking someone to replace Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man or Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Or,
Mm.
well, they did do it with Tobey Maguire, but
I
everyone's
think
got different opinions on that.
if you do your casting right, I think it's like they can definitely like augment the character. And I think what the energy is, you don't have to replicate what they did, because like what made Andrew Garfield a pretty decent Spider-Man, what made Tom Holland a pretty decent Spider-Man, was that they didn't try to replicate Tobey Maguire. They kind of like
Fact.
chose aspects of Peter Parker that they wanted to portray out and really like focus on that, and they made their own their own version of the characters. And I feel like that's kind of what James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender did with Xavier and Magneto as well,
Yeah.
is that they focus on different aspects of the character.
My favorite moment, I think, in all of the X-Men movies, not including Logan, out of all the X-Men movies, would be the moment when they had Days of Futures Past and James McAvoy went into Logan's mind and he got to talk to Patrick Stewart's Professor X.
Yeah.
And that interaction, it was so well thought out, just being able to connect their two minds through Logan, having that conversation and really bridge the gap between the new and old actor, it felt like a true passing of the torch, and
Mhm.
just I loved it. I thought it was such a brilliant moment in the cinema.
Can you rank all of the X-Men films in order from least to favorite? So from most favorite to least favorite.
Okay. Least to most.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to pick X-Men 1 as the least.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I
pick the
like that a
first one
lot,
as the
actually.
least. I like, don't get me wrong, I like it. Wait. Actually, let me ask this. Are
Yeah.
we including First Class, Dark Phoenix, and
Yeah, we're
Apocalypse?
adding the entire gambit, like
Okay.
the entire
L-
catalog.
let me start over then.
Okay.
Big start over. Dark
Sure.
Phoenix, Apocalypse.
Okay.
Easy. Those
Yeah.
two are first. Those were just not good
Not
movies.
good films.
Especially Dark Phoenix. Apocalypse, it wasn't the
There's some
worst, but
redeeming factors in Apocalypse, I think.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we have
Um,
Dark Phoenix, Apocalypse. What's
yes.
third worst out there?
Then I'm gonna pick
Uh, I'm also going to include. Let's include X-Men Origins, Wolverine, the
okay.
Wolverine, and Logan. I'd
Okay,
add those
okay.
three.
Shoot, I already know which one's first then. Okay. So next, I'm gonna go ahead and say for the list, how about X-Men First Class? I do like
Oh,
it.
whoa!
I do like it a lot,
I
but
love First Class.
it's really good.
It's really good.
I don't know if I can put it above the
You
first
put,
X-Men
all right,
movie.
but you put it above X-Men Origins Wolverine. That was a hot mess.
Okay. Okay. So X-Men Origins Wolverine, in terms of the timeline, in terms of all the other X-Men movies, it's terrible because of how they wrote it. But as a standalone film, it's great.
It's I feel like it's more campy and weird than great. I mean we have to owe that film is what led to Deadpool and Wolverine, but that film was still not a good film.
I enjoyed a lot of it. It's just the parts that really don't sit well with me are like Sabretooth, for example.
Sure.
Like that
Yeah.
part didn't really work too well for me because we already had him in X-Men 1.
Yeah. I love the actor though, who played
Yeah,
Sabretooth in
the actor was
Origins.
great. Yeah. I think Origins would have been better. X-Men Origins Wolverine would have been better if they had properly done the timeline and
Mm,
hadn't
true.
messed it up. Like take Emma Frost, for example, in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah.
He's literally in First Class, older, but then First Class is before
Right. Well, that's the
Wolverine.
thing. I
It's like,
mean, you could argue that with even within that world, there's two different timelines. Two different alternate universes. That's why at the end of Days of Future Past, they rewrite stuff of it. So you
yeah.
can make the argument that it's different timelines.
All right. Let me go ahead and backtrack them. We'll put Origins Wolverine
I
next.
don't want to sway your opinion.
No,
If
no,
you don't like
no,
X
no,
Men
no, no.
First Class, you don't have to like
As,
it.
as a standalone film, I would put it higher, but I have to think of this as like as a whole, right? So I'm
Sure,
gonna put it there.
sure.
And then I really am torn between First Class and X-Men 1. So why don't we just put those together? We can put them
No,
next.
you have to
I
separate.
have to.
Yeah, I have my separation. I think
Mm,
I would put First Class. So far, I agree with your list right now. The same as mine.
okay.
I think
Okay.
I don't know if I would put. I think I would not put X Men First Class and X Men One right after Origins. I don't like X Men 3. That was my least favorite. Or was one of my least favorite
See,
films.
X3 Last Stand, I enjoy it, but I hate the arc they wrote for Jean. I hate the arc they wrote for Scott.
What Wolverine's
And
arc?
then Wolverine's arc. Oh yeah, the just
They
pining
kind
over
of
Jean the whole time.
Yeah, they kind of lean too heavily on the whole like grieving Jean Grey, which I guess that's like the emotional backbone of it. But I felt like they just used that as like I feel like they didn't give Wolverine, they made him a kind of a mopey boy. Like he's like just one degree
Yeah.
above like Scott Summers in terms of moping level.
No, yeah, that's fair. I think. I mean, X-Men 3 is definitely coming up. Was going to be next on my list
Yeah.
for sure. I think. All right, between those three, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and say First Class, X3, and then X-Men 1. That's how I'm gonna do it.
In terms of better, least.
Least to
Oh, okay.
best.
So
So First
first
Class,
class,
X3,
X3,
and then X-Men
X-Men
1.
1. Okay.
Yeah. After that, it's gonna be X-Men 2,
Okay.
and then the Wolverine,
Yeah.
and then Logan.
Logan. What about Days of Future Past? Where's that fall on?
Oh shoot. Okay. I'm gonna put that one right below Logan. That would be second.
Oh,
I
okay.
really enjoyed that movie. That was very well done, in my opinion.
I think the same way you see X-Men First Class and X1 is where I see Days of Future Past and Logan. I love Days of Future Past as a good X-Men movie, but Logan by itself is that's a good like Western feel movie. Like that movie
Yeah.
honestly can stand alone from all other else. But a very interesting list. I'd probably change a few things. I did not care too much for the Wolverine as much as you do. I think I would probably put it below First Class. But again, I love X-Men First Class.
Yeah.
It brought back the love of X-Men. I love seeing them build the team together. And I loved seeing the highlights of Magneto and Professor Xavier, since they have the same goal in mind, but
Yeah.
then they just have different approaches to it.
Yeah. I mean, I was telling Chelsea this the other day. Magneto is probably, I've realized this more recently. Magneto is probably one of my favorite villains of all
Villains?
time.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
He's just
good.
such a good villain because like you can understand his point of view,
Mm-hmm.
and you can agree with it, you can disagree with it, you can hate him, you can love him. Like you can, there's so many things you can feel with
Yeah.
Magneto that makes him compelling as a villain, that you're just you don't know whether to root for him or root against him
Mm-hmm.
sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, like, his background as like a survivor of the Holocaust. And like, and suddenly he sees like humans turning against like the Jewish people, as he sees as humans turning
Yeah.
against like the mutants. I think it's really
Yeah.
good. And I think you enjoy reading some of the newer. So this is actually a pretty good timing for X-Men comic book as a whole, because they just rebooted the comic book series. They ended
Yeah.
the Krakoa arc and then having like the post Krakoa arc. And I know one of the scenes I was like, the panels I was reading had a Magneto essentially breaking out of prison, or I think he's breaking into prison to free some of the other mutants. And he's confronted by 3 human guards, and they're like taunting him. But the scene doesn't really matter because the real battle's happening in Magneto's head, because he's seeing, should he be the Magneto that he used to be, like the I will kill every human who tries to hurt a mutant, or does he want to follow the path of like, I'm gonna follow Xavier's dream of like they can be a coexistence of humans and mutants, or should he
Yeah.
carve his own path? And so he chooses to carve his own path, and so he took the costume of like the traditional Magneto look with the magenta, the purple, like some of the red, and his X-Men look with like the full white armor, and kind of found a middle ground of like it's like it's actually black, but it has like an X logo, so it's in the middle ground.
Okay. Okay.
So
I like it.
yeah, I
I
think
like
you'd
it.
really love the new X-Men series. I think it's great. I think it's a good opening for someone who like loves the X-Men.
You know what X-Men series I really enjoyed this
Mhm.
summer was the animated one that came out.
Yeah, that was
You
what a
you finished that,
good
right?
did finish that. What a good like portrayal of like the X-Men. Like
It finally did Scott Summers justice,
yes.
man.
I think
Finally.
after the whole like X-Men movies, I feel like Cyclops has been like a downward like track. If you think him as a loser,
Yeah. If you talk to
everybody
most people, they're gonna be like Cyclops, like that guy, you
boo.
like
No,
him? Like, yeah.
he was my favorite X-Men growing up. I love Cyclops.
Yeah,
I
like in the
loved
animated
his
version, he was so fun.
yeah.
It,
I love his action
like,
figure. That's what I had.
oh really?
Yeah, I've since donated it or maybe sold in a garage sale, but I had
Sure.
the Cyclops from the like the '90s cartoon, the action figure for him. He
Really?
was my favorite.
Really cool.
He was the coolest. I love his little visor and his eye beam. I thought he looked really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and the way they introduced him, whenever he lands on the ground, he
Yeah,
does
it's
the
good.
with the eyes. I thought that was a really clever idea. It just made him look more badass, and they just did a really good job with the character. I mean,
Mhm.
he wasn't whiny as much. He wasn't pining over anybody. I mean, like, yeah, he was dealing with stuff.
Yeah, he's just
With
trying to be a good husband and a good father. What a
there you go.
wholesome man.
Yeah, he really was. it was actually Wolverine who I felt got the
They made
short end of the stick.
they made him very mopey in the animated series. I hope
Mm.
now that, again, this is spoilers for the animated series, but now that like Cyclops and Jean are displaced in time, I hope that season 2 of X-Men 97 opens up with Wolverine leading an X-Men team. I think
That would be fun.
he deserves to lead an X-Men team. He is a good a leader. I think he can be, at least.
Oh yeah, he 100% can be. It's just depending on which version you get of Wolverine. Is it the
True.
drunk or is it the one who's actually
The
focused and
badass one.
driven?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of X-Men teams, I want to ask you, in memory of the, I guess, in a tribute to the old X-Men and to bring in the new MCU version of the X-Men, what is your X-Men dream team?
Okay, is there a limit?
Say 5 to 7 characters, right? I don't want to be too big of a roster.
Okay, so I'm gonna start off by cutting out Professor X because
Damn.
I feel like if I put him on the roster, like he's really more support, right? He's very
Yeah.
heavy support.
Yeah,
And
so
he's a good support, but I have a better person in mind than
I'm thinking,
Xavier.
when I mean like an X-Men team, I mean like in the field, they're
Yeah.
fighting Sentinels,
Yeah.
they're fighting the Brotherhood of Mutants, they're fighting whoever.
Right,
Who you
which
going
leads
with?
me to Jean Grey
Sure.
because
Okay.
she can do everything Charles can do plus more. Like
Okay.
she is the superior psychic telepath, telekinetic, whatever you want to call it.
You know,
Like she can do a lot, everything he
just-
can and more. She just
has
doesn't
the-
have as much experience.
the drop of Dark Phoenix flare, potential
Yeah.
to kill to team wipe you.
Yeah, she could straight up solo a lot of people in the Marvel universe in general.
All right, you guys, Jean Grey, is she the leader or is she not the leader?
Nah,
Not
the
the
leader's
leader.
got to be her husband, of course.
Okay,
I'm gonna
so
bring in
you're-
that boy Cyclops.
The iconic duo so far.
Yes.
Cyclops leading, Jean Grey, that's 2. You got 5 more people on your roster.
All right, we're bringing in Miss Aurora.
Storm.
Miss Storm,
Okay.
of course. Storm is she's kind of like the heart of the team most of the time, you know.
Sure.
She's the voice of reason. She's just a great character.
Sure.
If you don't like Storm, then you just don't like X-Men.
Okay.
But
That's a
yeah.
hot take from Alex, but okay. You don't like
It is a
Storm,
hot
you don't
take.
like the X-Men?
There's no way. How can you like X-Men and not like Storm? But anyhow.
Fair. All right, so you have
Then-
Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm.
All right. So next, I'm gonna bring in another kind of lovey-dovey couple, but can't touch each other. I'm gonna
Mhm.
bring up Rogue, but specifically the version of Rogue that stole Captain Marvel's powers.
Okay, so
Is
traditional
that-
comic book Rogue, yeah.
Yes, that one. That one's my favorite version of Rogue.
Okay.
The one that says sugar.
So far, you're building
know?
the X-Men 97 team. I just want you to let you know that.
I'm okay with this. The
All right.
X-Men 97 team is pretty great, but
Is that your dream team, though?
well, we'll see. I'm getting there.
Okay, so
So
you're at
next
4.
is gonna be
Yeah, 3
next
left.
is gonna be Gambit.
Okay.
So obviously also from 97, but like
Okay.
Remy LeBeau, dude, he's so fun.
He's fun.
He's such a fun character.
character,
He's
sure.
got so many fun lines. He's quippy. He's witty. He's a ladies' man, if you will. Like that man. He's got the riz. So, Gambit, he's a fun character.
All
I would
right.
definitely want him on the team. Plus, the power to be able to blow up whatever he touches, that seems pretty useful.
Yeah.
Gotta
It's
admit.
fun ability. I love Gambit. My brother, he was my brother's favorite character out of X-Men, like the animated series.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
Gambit.
really hope that I saw this in our comment section earlier. I hope we get a Gambit in like a Gambit cameo in the Wolverine and Deadpool
That'd be
movie.
cool.
Because I know they were talking about making a Channing Tatum Gambit movie.
I think
for
he would have
years.
been a good Gambit.
Oh, for sure. Channing Tatum totally
Yeah.
could have pulled that off. It's
I-
sad that they never got to
Yeah.
actually bring that to
I
fruition.
recently watched Fly Me to the Moon, like his new film with Scarlett Johansson. It's a pretty good rom-com, and he's a good lead in that.
Oh yeah, Channing
So-
Tatum's a great actor.
All right,
Um,
back to the dream team. So you have Cyclops.
5.
Yeah, you have Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm, Rogue, and Gambit. You have
All right,
2
this is-
spots left.
The next one is a tough one for me because you already know who I'm going to end on. But I think for the next one, I'm a little conflicted. I kind of want to choose Beast,
classic.
because yeah, he's classic. He's super smart, intelligent. He's kind of like the scientist of the team.
Hmm.
But I want to throw a curveball,
Sure.
and I'm gonna choose Magneto.
Magneto. Okay. Yeah.
I want Magneto on that team. The
Magneto's a
master
king.
of magnetism. Just like he, dude. What I mean it when I say that he's one of the coolest villains. Like he's so fun. He. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about him.
As a kid, I thought Magneto's powers were like the coolest thing ever. The idea of control like metal, that is like bonkers crazy. And how they'd show it in like the movies, like pulling the iron out of people's like body, that was so cool.
Dude, what he did to Wolverine in X-Men 97, I'm not gonna say
It
it
was
because it's
wild.
pretty spoilery, but like I saw
Yeah.
when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, this man is insane. Like
He's
he's
cool powers. All right. So you're adding in
Magneto.
Mr. Magneto, the master
Yeah.
of magnetism himself.
Mhm.
And he's
Yep.
not the leader of the of this X-Men team. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I know. No, I know. Hey, what can I say?
Okay.
I want to see Cyclops take control of the team. But I'm sure he'll clash a lot with Magneto,
Yes, very much so.
Oh,
And the last spot goes to
you already know.
Mr.
It's that man
Wolverine
Wolverine.
himself.
Of course. Of course.
Okay.
Wolverine's gonna be on the team, man. Wolverine is literally the X-Man, as Deadpool puts it in one of the trailers. He says, F that, you're the X-Men, because he is.
Honestly, yeah. Like sometimes there's like a lot. I mean, I think it's because of his costume from the animated series, and then watching like the X-Men movies, like X-Men 1, 2, and 3. It very much felt like, and then he does the X with his fist. Sorry, he does the X with his fist. Like, how do you not see him as like the quintessential X-Man?
100%. Yeah. No, he's definitely on the team for sure.
Right.
Honorable mentions, obviously,
Yes.
Beast,
Who's
Professor
not
X,
who's your
and,
eighth man, your ninth man, like the backup members?
Colossus,
Colossus,
Kitty
good.
Pryde, or Shadowcat,
Shadowcat.
and then Beast, of course.
I think
Like,
Colossus would be in my dream team of X-Men. I love
Yeah?
Colossus as a character.
why don't you tell me yours? Let's
right.
who are your top 7?
I'm gonna go wild. I want to say this is my dream team because you stole a lot of people on my dream team. But if I
you can steal anyone.
if I had to create like a really good team, I'd try to choose Iceman as my leader. I think
that's a good choice.
I think
Bobby.
people always forget that Iceman was one of the original X-Men. He's been there since the beginning, and his powers is awesome. I have Iceman. I would have Colossus. I would probably include Shadowcat, Kitty Pryde. I love the phasing in and out. I think it's a good dynamic between Colossus and Shadowcat. And then I like Emma Frost. I think Emma Frost was a good one, but I don't think I'd include her though. I would include Cannonball. What a obscure choice, but I like him as like he's a very fun ability of just shooting.
I did not expect Cannonball.
Propelling. I'm going for a younger, a new age of like X-Men characters, younger, fresher faces of it.
Ooh. Okay. Keep going. I've got someone in mind that I'm wondering if you're gonna pick them.
I think I would probably include maybe Cable. Cable could be cool.
I thought about Cable. But I just didn't pick him because I feel like he's that one guy that shows up randomly to help out the team.
Yeah.
He's not usually like on the roster.
All right, I think I would replace Cable with Bishop. I think I love Bishop as like I think.
I wish Bishop had been in like
gun.
Yeah, how he like absorbs energy and then he just powers up the gun.
Yeah, it's like he can shoot it through any medium. But I just want a gun. You're like
Bishop's superpower, for those who don't know, is basically like you've seen Black Panther, right? And you see how his suit takes up all this kinetic energy and builds it up, and then he just, kind of explodes it out. Imagine that, but instead of making it explode, Bishop concentrates it into the gun and then shoots it out.
What a character!
What a character!
What a man! So like that's how many people? That's 4 people right now, right? That's Iceman. No, that's 5 people. Iceman, Shadowcat, Colossus, Cannonball, Bishop.
Okay.
I feel like I need to see. I would have chosen like Storm. Storm's like really. I think Storm's a really good person to add.
Storm's
I think
one of the goats.
if she's off on your team, I'm probably gonna bring in. I think because I removed Cable, I'll probably put in Emma Frost.
Okay. Okay.
Either that, or I might put in like Rachel Summers, like Jean Grey and Scarlet Summers, like future kid. I think she's
Mm,
I think
okay.
Miss Marvel
Get your
or
own
Prestige.
Phoenix.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Phoenix, maybe a Copes. And then so that's what me 5 right now. I need 2 more.
Wait, you just said two, didn't you? You said um oh my gosh, I just
So
had it.
there's I have Iceman as my leader. Then I'm bringing in Shadowcat, Colossus. That's 3. Let's put in Bishop because he's really cool. And then I guess I'll throw in Emma Frost. That's 5. Either Emma. I do want a telepath or like a telekinesis person. So it's either Emma Frost or Rachel Summers, and I can't have both. That's too many people.
Okay.
Um,
So which one? Emma Frost or Rachel Summers?
I'll go Rachel Summers. I'm gonna go for a younger feeling X-Men cast.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
there's some other obscure X-Men that I want to throw in, but people will not know their names.
I've got one for you.
What's up?
Have you thought about Magic?
I think. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I want the Dark Child, which is like her alter ego because she lived in limbo for a while. I don't know if I
Sure.
want her running around with my team. I guess that'd be cool. Having a sword is kind of cool.
Oh, you know who we haven't mentioned that could be
Who?
really good for yours?
Hmm.
Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler is good. I was thinking of Nightcrawler or Blink. Blink is a fun
Would be
small
good.
name. I think Nightcrawler would win. I like Nightcrawler's energy. And I think
Yeah.
my
And they have
last,
similar powers.
yeah. And then my last spot would probably have to go to, probably Sunspot. Like
Ooh,
I like his sun
okay.
powers. I
Yeah,
think that
like
those are my young team of X-Men, the
I like how neither of
youngsters.
us chose Jubilee.
Oh shit! I forgot about Jubilee. All right, I'll kick out a Sunspot for Jubilee. I love me a
Okay.
Jubilee. I love her light powers.
Okay. Fair enough. I don't know. Jubilee never did it for me in the animated series. I always felt like she was kind of that character that always just got into trouble. But I guess she was
Yeah,
the younger
she's like
child, so
really highlight the teenager angsty part. I
yeah.
wish I'm sure if they had like a full like 25 episode season like most cartoon shows had did in the 90s, she would have a few standalone arcs.
You know, I do got to put in one more honorable mention that we
Sure.
didn't get to say. And he's not a very common X-Men, Spike. What a cool guy.
Isn't he just from X-Men Evolution though? Like, does he
He is.
is he an
He
actual like
is.
character by himself? Like
I
outside of it?
outs So he actually was in The Last Stand.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so there's a scene in X-Men The Last Stand where Wolverine goes to the base camp that Magneto has and he's
Hmm.
having that speech, and when Wolverine's like trying to sneak his way in, he gets caught by a character throwing like these spikes at him.
Sure.
That's Spike. So if you ever rewatch
Oh,
it, that's him.
I gotta
Yeah,
watch
it's
it.
he's just he's obviously he's not like the evolutions version because this one is one, he's white, and two, he's a lot older. So
Yeah, sure.
it's not very I don't know if there's a quote unquote accurate version of him, truth be told. I'm sure
Mhm.
the one we got in evolutions is closer to accuracy, but yeah. I got one more quick one for you.
Okay. This will be the last one. We'll end our
Yes.
show on this question. Go.
Avengers roster using not just the MCU, but the X-Men and
Okay.
Fantastic Four, Ghost Rider, anyone that you've never seen in MCU that you know is a Marvel character in the comics, for example.
I think I'm gonna stick to some characters that are probably people know, so I don't have to explain their obscurity. But I feel like how many people are we talking? What's the roster limit?
Let's do 5 to 7
Five
like
to seven.
like we did
Okay.
before.
I feel like you have to go with the Avengers Trinity. You have to go with Thor, Captain America, Iron Man.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but I think I would go. Yeah, I'll go Steve Rogers, Captain America. I'll go with classic Tony Stark, Iron Man. But I'm actually gonna go with Jane Foster. No, actually, no, I'm gonna go with Thor. I like Thor.
Okay.
I was thinking about Jane Foster as Thor, but I was like, no, I love me a good Odin son. I respect him as a
I was gonna
character.
be surprised by that one for a
Good.
second.
All right, so those are the 3. I think those are a given. I'd throw in Black Panther, King T'Challa.
Okay.
I
Okay.
would throw in Miss Marvel. I think she's a good addition. I would throw
Nice,
in
nice.
She-Hulk. I think I like her better than the Hulk himself, only because She-Hulk can control has better control over her aggression. She may not be as strong as the Hulk, but the rest of the team will be carrying the weight anyways. I cannot
Okay.
cannot throw in Mr. Unreliable Hulk. Plus, like, he talks in third person, which is a big red flag for me. You gotta
I
use
gotcha.
proper English,
Yeah, no, that's fair. Hulk is very much a wild card.
Sure. And then I would throw in Wolverine. I think Wolverine makes a good X-Men. I like
a good Avenger.
X-Men. Yeah, sorry, good X-Men, good Avenger. I think he's really cool. So that puts me, I think I'm now at 6 people. So one more on my roster.
One more.
I am leaning towards maybe one of the Eternals. Maybe like I think maybe Icarus from the Eternal, like the Richard Madden's character.
Remind me which one Icarus was, and
the guy who turned bad guy. Like I was like, I need to like obey the rules.
Yeah. Okay, the one who was in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Richard Madden.
Yeah.
I think I throw him in. I don't know why. I can't think of another hero to fill in the slot. That's like, because like I don't want to really break up the Fantastic Four. The 4 of them. We can't mess with that. I know people always throw in Spider-Man as an Avenger, but I think he's better as like a down to earth hero. As like a friendly neighborhood person. So
it's so funny you say both of those, because I'm just gonna go and get them out the way. I was gonna break up the Fantastic Four and say Mr. Fantastic. I did not want to choose Tony Stark. Yeah, I didn't want to choose Tony Stark. I wanted to change it up and have a different genius on the team. Mr. Fantastic. I'm gonna throw in Spider-Man.
Sure.
You already took one of them, Wolverine. I'm gonna go ahead and actually throw in a couple OGs, Captain America and Thor.
Yeah.
So that gives me 5 now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna also go ahead and throw in my girl Rogue, Miss Sugar, with the Captain Marvel powers.
Are you gonna bring in her partner Gambit?
No. Gambit's not on this team, not this time.
Okay.
And then for the last one, trying to think who I picked. Who do I want? I had someone on my mind for the last one. I think I was thinking about She-Hulk, but then I was like, I like Hulk more. But then I was like, Hulk's too much of a wild card. But then She-Hulk's just, I think it would be fun to add. I almost want to throw in Storm, but I feel like that's too many X-Men. So
you might as well have the X-Men roster again.
Right. No, I think I'm gonna have to go with you know what? Let's throw in Groot. Groot seems like a good choice.
Interesting. Of all the Guardians, Groot.
Groot. I am Groot, baby.
Yeah, I am Groot. Would you put Groot and Rocket as like a paired, as a single people, or just Groot himself?
If I can do that, I would totally do that. I will gladly use them both for one spot. Yeah. Rocket's smart as hell.
All right. I think that those are good superhero teams. I think we would have we would be good comic book writers with very fun teams.
Yeah.
I think right before we end our show, I just want to say, what is your favorite superpower? If you could be a mutant, what power would you want to have?
Are you asking me or the audience?
I'm asking you. The audience too, but I'm asking you.
Oh man. Okay. So I think I've talked about this once before, but if I was a mutant and had a superpower, I would choose the power of healing. So kind of like Wolverine, except I would amplify it and I would extend it to be able to heal others as well. So I can heal myself and I can heal you.
Nice. That's pretty cool. I think I would choose electric powers. I think like the powers of like black lightning, or ecstatic shock. I think I would like to have those powers. What would your code name be if you had a code name as an X-Man?
Ooh. Code name as an X-Men. I don't know. That one's tough. Can I come back to you on that one?
Yeah, you'll come back to us. We'll get back to it. I think I would be Volt. I think the name's already taken by someone, but my name would be Volt.
That is very fitting for a electric
powered hero. With that being said, while Alex thinks of a superhero name for himself, let's go ahead and end our episode today. Thank you so much for listening. Special shout outs. Give a shout out to JT for designing this 2-person background so that we don't miss Devante too much. Give me a shout out to Leviction for his awesome intro and his awesome outro. I love it. His EP, Sorry for Delay, is out on Spotify. Please go give it a listen. And then I think next week we'll be back to the 3 of us. Alex will be watching Deadpool Wolverine. He'll give us his hot takes. I'm watching it.
Ready.
Actually, I'm watching it like I think a week from Friday, so I'll be very behind. So don't spoil too much from me, but I want your hot takes.
I will do everything I can to not say what I'm thinking.
All right.
I'm so ready for tomorrow night. That's literally what I've been waiting for all week.
Nice. Do you have any more shout outs before we go ahead and end the show?
Got any questions? Throw them in the comments. We got you. We'll answer them.
I'm a huge vat of comic book knowledge, so I'll be looking for the comments and trying to answer as many as I can, or point you to a good comic book that you should be reading. Until then, this has been Dude You Never Told Me. Thank you for watching and listening.